We've reached the month of August, which means it's time to rank all 5 July releases that I saw from the worst to the best. Now, I gave every movie on this list a positive review, so just because movies are last place or in one of the lower slots, it doesn't mean that I didn't like it, it just means that I thought the other movies in spots higher up on this list were better. So with that in mind, let's get started. Coming at number 5, Where the Crawdads Sing. I thought this movie was well directed with lots of gorgeous cinematography, well-established relationships, and a compelling script. Though the main idea is a murder mystery, the film mostly focuses on the main character's relationships with other people to establish why she may or may not have done it. I was highly intrigued by this movie, but the ending is left kind of ambiguous, which was a bit frustrating. Number 4, Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank. A movie that, based on the trailers, I wasn't expecting much of, but ended up being a lot more entertaining than I was expecting. For some reason, the trailers decided to focus on all the worst jokes in the movie, but in the movie itself, there was actually some clever writing. The animation was also very well done, and while the film's message is something that's been done over and over, I still had a good time with it. Number 3, Thor, Love and Thunder. This film managed to actually make me care about Thor and Jane's relationship, which is something I never thought I'd say. Now, while maybe some of the dialogue was a bit clunky, and maybe some of the jokes went on for a bit too long, the film made up for it with Christian Bale's performance as the villain. While it's not as good as Ragnarok, it's still one of the better Thor films, which I know isn't saying much, but it was better than I was expecting. Number 2, DC League of Super Pets. Just a cute little kids movie with not much plot. However, there are a lot of really clever jokes about the DC lore, there are some good voice performances, and while I didn't get much out of this movie as an adult, if I were the target audience, I know I would have watched this movie on loop. And there's worse talking animal kids movies out there. I still thought this film was entertaining enough. And coming at number 1 is Minions: The Rise of Gru. I thought this was a fun origin story about what inspired Gru to be a supervillain. All the villains in this movie are creative with some very clever names, and while it doesn't really do anything new with the franchise, if you go in knowing exactly what you're going to get, some Three Stooges-style humor, some slapstick, some good visual gags, you'll probably be entertained by this film. And if you're somebody who's been following the Despicable Me franchise since the beginning, there's some fun callbacks to the other movies. Out of all the movies I saw this month, I was the most entertained by this one, so it comes in at number 1. You can share a ranking of all the July 2022 releases that you saw, and I will see you next time.